Good morning, everyone. Good coffee? All right, great. I don't play harmonica, unfortunately, like my friend Carl, but I've got a lot of updates for you. Hopefully that's interesting, exciting. I'm Suvish. I'm part of the leadership team here in Europe for Zoho. I work out of our office in Germany from a small city, nice town called Essen. And I'm going to talk about two main things during my next 45 minutes over here with you. We'll divide it into two sections. The first one is what's new in AI? Why not, right? But here, we're not just going to talk about AI on screenshots. I'm going to demo the products. So bear with me if it doesn't work, because it's AI, right? And the next section is a little bit about the apps, because we are Zoho, we like to build products, and we don't want to do a Zoholics without introducing a new product to you. So let's get started. What's new in AI? So most of you know AI, I think, from generative AI, last few years, right? 2-3 years with OpenAI, many other vendors talking about LLMs, GPUs. That's when we all got introduced to AI as a mainstream topic. For us, it's an 11-year-old topic. It's interesting, when I was thinking about our AI journey, back in 2018, it was our Zoho Day, which is our global analyst conference, and that's when I had the opportunity to first demo Zia in front of analysts around the world. So it's at least 7 years old, if I'm not wrong. And this particular initiative that we've always known that it is not just about one model fits all kind of a solution. We always knew that you got to ration different models that could work for the skills that you want it to work. Now, what that means, there's large language model, we all have heard of it, but there are also possibilities of narrow, small, and medium models, which is important because it depends upon how much compute power it uses to do a certain task. You don't need an LLM to scan your receipt, which is part of many of our apps. So what we have done here is label our AI initiatives into 3 main categories that you see here. Zia, which is Zoho Intelligent Assistant. It is embedded across our products. Ask Zia, which is more explicit. Zia is more implicit. You will see it, but you don't have to really fire it up. Ask Zia is where you ask the Zia to perform a certain action, create a report, create an app, create a workflow, create a module, whatever that is. And it will give you some response, depending upon your setup and things like that. Third is agents. This is us throwing our hat in the world of Agentic AI. I think Sachin alluded to it a little bit. I'm going to show you Agent and the Agent Studio to build agents without really writing any piece of code. So let's get started with Zia, right? This is, as I mentioned, intelligence embedded across Zoho. I need to give you some examples of it. Now, when we talk about Zia and AI, what we have to make sure is your AI understands the context behind the question you are asking it. So for example, if you are asking for a lead to be shared with a salesperson, AI should know whether that salesperson is working today or he's on leave. That's the context. And for you to get that context, your product or the suite of apps that you have should have that data. That's where Zoho's suite of apps comes into picture, because we're built on similar technology, products talk to each other, and then there is an intelligence layer on top of it. Similarly, there are such hundreds of such contextual integrations that are today part of the app. Many of that maybe you have experienced because you're using Zoho, and you're not being nickel and dimed for it. Many of it is today part of the subscription that maybe you're using, Some of it, maybe it's part of different editions, but we are not asking you, hey, this is an additional cost for the AI kind of thing. An example of this is these are different skills that you see that today it's already there. I mentioned about receipt, so let's take an example there. You all are here for a business trip. Let's say you don't like the coffee here, although it's good. You go to Starbucks downstairs, you buy a coffee, take a receipt. If you're using Expense app, you scan that receipt. What does Expense app do? It understands, it reads by itself the amount, the currency, the location, date, and the category of expense, whether it is food and beverage, transport, or whatever that is. And it shows that up on the Expense app for you to upload. That is an example of Zia embedded AI at work. Another example is anomaly detection. I mentioned this as a skill there. Anomaly detection in Zoho billings, for example, where you can detect the trends, any sales report, any sales trend before it sales anomaly before it becomes a trend. It gives you that warning, something to look upon, right? We've got similar such examples, but I want to show you something on our product as well. So let me get to my demo and show you something around examples of our product. Can I have the screen, please? Okay. What you see here is Zoho Workplace. How many of you are aware of Workplace? Raise of hand, please. Okay, quite a few. It is one of our most used app in Zoho's ecosystem. What you see here is Zoho Mail, which is a powerful business email application. And as you can see, you have your email, Click, Connect. These are different apps that are part of our productivity, collaboration, and communication suite. Now, let's take an example of an email here. Now, of course, the fact that this email is here, it has already gone through some of the technology that is underpinning it, malware detection, spam filters, and things like that. These are technologies that are not new. But when we are looking at this as simple email, now Zia here comes with an example of, can I assist you in giving a smart reply? Now, this is an example where there is already content out there, and it gives you a possible response. Now, this is not new. You can obviously look at tools like Grammarly to see whether you are putting in the right content and things like that. But here, it understands the context. It prepares a response for you. But then if you look at here, I've got a very slippery two fingers, so I'm not able to zoom in, but anyways, that's what I want to show. So here, it also reads your calendar and gives you possible conflict of time, right? So Zia prepared a response where it has suggested time and date, but at the same time, it also suggests that, hey, you have got another appointment at the same time, and it gives you suggestion of an alternate time that you can book your meeting for. An example of embedded AI working within Zoho Mail, right? So that's live demo. You can always clap if you find something interesting, okay? All right. Okay, let's switch back to the presentation, please. This was one of the examples that I wanted to show of Zia. Now, similarly, there are several such Zia features, Zia capabilities that are part of the product. But let's get to a little more advanced functionality. Ask Zia, as I mentioned, Ask Zia is more explicit. Again, all of these capabilities we are building to elevate your productivity. And when I say elevating your productivity, I'm not talking about cutting down 40% of your workforce. I'm not talking about productivity gain in multiples, small percentage gains, right? Keeping it practical. So here, we spoke about Zia in workplace. Let's talk about Zia in CRM. Zia in sales, which is CRM for us, one of our, again, most used apps, Zoho CRM. Now, when a deal comes to your organization, to your team, sales team works on that deal primarily, but sales team also works with multiple other teams within your function. For a deal to be won, you have legal team to work on contracts. You have finance team that is helping you to prepare invoices or quotes. You have marketing team to work on case studies, success stories, similar brands that are working on the product, etc. So there are multiple such teams working with the sales team to get the deal to the closure. But they work with these teams outside of CRM. They work with these teams on emails, on calls, on message. All of these communication exchange happens outside of your CRM. Are you all with me on that? Is that the common case, right? We also identified that problem. We are quite a large company, 18,000 odd. Vijay mentioned that. And we have quite distributed teams across the world. So this is a problem that we all face, especially when you are distributed. So this is not a problem that we invented. So shouldn't that communication exchange, all these different communication exchanges, shouldn't happen within the CRM? That got us to thinking that CRM itself hasn't really changed in the last 30 years. Of course, the delivery model changed from being on-premise to cloud, and we've got new features, new UI, and all of that. But CRM never brought in all these important teams onto its portal. Why? Maybe it was technically complex, or maybe CRM was too expensive to extend the licenses to all the users within the organization. Could be hundreds of reasons. But then we thought we need to change. So that's when we launched CRM for Everyone last year. Have you all heard of it? Any of you have heard of it? OK, that means our newsletters is not reaching to the right audience. So we launched this product last year. And over the last few years, we've been working on it, right? So it was launched in a crude format. We had to smoothen the edges. And then we realized that if we want to make it really user-friendly, especially for teams who are not working on CRM on day-to-day basis, like legal, finance, and all of them, then we need to make it simple. And that's where AI in CRM comes into picture, where creation of some of the complex items within the CRM, can we outsource it to Zia? So let's see that on the product. OK, we've got OK. Can we switch to the product screen, please? What you see here is CRM interface, nothing fancy here. You have deals module, different modules here, widgets, dashboards. You all would have created this. And in CRM for Everyone, you have this option of creating different team spaces where you have your marketing, sales, different teams that you can create. Again, that helps in bringing different teams. But then, what about creation of module, right? Now, those of you who have worked on CRM, not just Zoho CRM, any CRM, you would know that module creation is not an easy task. As an admin, you need to know the schema, your architecture of CRM, where different fields are, what different modules are, what permissions to give, what different fields to make, things like that. It's not an easy task to do. But then let's see if we have to do module creation using Zia, what it does. So let's say create a success story module with request for sales, right? Sorry. Yeah. So let's create a success story module where the sales can request for case studies okay? And marketing can put it based on industries. Let's see if it works. So while this is firing up, okay, good. You know, I put my fingers crossed there, right? So, and we have given you Zoho socks to just throw out on me if it doesn't work. All right. So what we see here is module with different fields, and with the permission, right? You have different admin permissions here, where you want to store and things like that. So it gives you the initial schema of, and I think the module is there. So let's look at it. Success story. Let's search for the module, okay? Yeah, it worked. And when you see this, there is obviously Zia has built a module, but then you also have the option to change the fields, make it the way you want in case you didn't like what Zia has built. So this is the combination of AI and humans working together, right? And this otherwise would have taken you at least a couple of hours to build the module, to understand an employee who understands all the schema and everything. Now, module creation in Zia is out there. We are rolling it out in phases in different data centers as we speak, and you will get a notification from your account managers when it is available in the European region. So that was an example of module creation. Now let's take an example also of Zia helping us to build workflow. Let's see if it works. What you see here is the interface for Zia, where you ask, like I mentioned, these are all examples of Ask Zia. Ask Zia is interactive, collaborative assistant, where you ask it to do a job. It will do it if it has the skills. We first tried with module creation. Let's try with workflow creation, okay? You have different options here. Create workflow is what I want to try. So let's see if create a workflow to send an email notifying when a deal, let's say higher than 10,000 is won. So what it has to do now, in a non-Zia environment, you have to go to the workflow module. You have to think about various conditions and prepare that workflow blueprint and then get it live, right? So what happens here? Now here, Zia, we have put the prompt. It understood the deal that I'm talking about is deals module. It is giving you, it has understood the conditions. Condition here is if the deal above $10,000 is there, if it's there in the CRM, and it is unable to create the workflow. So, but it works. So, it worked in the background. Somehow it didn't work. Anyways, but this is what it is, right? So it understands your prompt and it tries to create the workflow. Sometimes if the workflow is already exists, it would give you an error. I'm hoping that's what happened here. But that was an example of Zia workflow. Zia reports is something that my colleague Ram is going to show later in the day. And tomorrow, 9 a.m., our product manager from CRM will showcase a lot of such Zia features which will work. I think it didn't like me. OK, so let's go back to the presentation. And this is part of the subscription, okay? So this, what you saw, module creation, let's say workflow part, all of these are part of your CRM subscription. Again, going back to the point that we are not trying to nickel and dime every new functionality that we launch as part of this. But it also gives us the ability to empower you, the customer, to customize CRM for everyone, right? When you are bringing a finance team on board CRM, they may not be well-versed with CRM. So can they customize it just by prompting, right? I'm sure they have better skills than me in prompting, but that's what the product does. Designing is another such functionality. We launched 2 years ago up here, we talked about Canvas in CRM, which was the first, industry-first, no-code design studio for CRM. Now we have added intelligence layer on top of Canvas, where you can just put in images, and it could create a complete canvas for you, right? So that's about Ask Zia, as I mentioned. You have something, just ask it. Now, it goes beyond CRM. CRM, we spoke about workplace, and it goes into that creation industry, where you have seen that example in movies, and music, and image creation, text and audio out. You have seen that text and image out. You put a prompt, and then image is out, right? This is something which we all are using in different functions and work that we have. And this disruption in creation is also coming into other creative industries, like software. Software is a creative industry. Why? Because if you have to develop an app or you want to solve a problem, there are different ways to develop an app, right? There are different ways to write the code, different ways to optimize the usage of resources, etc. And then there is also option in the market where you prompt and the code is out. As somebody said very famously, English is the hottest programming language today. You need to know how to prompt, and you get the code out. So let me show you an example of Zoho Creator. Thankfully, this is, in fact, Zoho Creator today, later in the afternoon, the product manager is going to take a session where one of you can come on the stage and prompt Zoho Creator, and it'll pop out the app that you want. So you can see that live in action. Can I switch to the screen, please? So Zoho Creator is our low-code platform. It's been around for about 17 odd years, and several hundreds of thousands of developers work in Zoho Creator's ecosystem to build apps. We also use it internally quite a lot. What we see here is again, creation of, so this is the prompt window where we ask Zia to build an app. As you can see, this is a mouthful of a prompt. We're asking a lot of things for Zia to do to handle entire claim life cycle, right? So it has to file, it has to get the invoices, look at the deals and things like that. So this is a complex application that we are trying to build. It's not just about a form on your website. So what Zia does is, let's say start building it, right? Not second time, yeah. All right, so what we are seeing here is different Zoho application that it is already connected with. Zoho CRM to get the contact and the deal details. You see here Zoho Invoice to send the invoice and to raise the quote, etc. And yeah, it also uses the available connection, so you don't have to create the connection every time. The whole schema of application is ready. Various application components, user permissions, again, business, B2B apps, not everyone has to have access to it. The permission, the role privileges, all of that have to be configured. That's what it is doing right now. Interestingly, in Creator, when you build an application, it is also built for different form factors, whether it is for mobile, tablets, desktops. It is built for all of that, and that's what is getting ready. And here you go, claim management system by just prompting what it has to be done, what it has to do. So it doesn't end there, right? Because you have built an application, but you realize that I need to make some changes. And that's where co-creation capability of Zoho Creator comes into picture, where you can co-create with Creator by adding fields or changing the color of the layout or whatever. You have to change the conditions, etc. So this is a new feature. We haven't spoken about it anywhere. It's not even out in beta. But we will show further on this later in the afternoon. This, again, goes back to Zoho Creator. If you look at it, it addresses one of the biggest challenges that we have in the economy, digitization. When you have the ability to digitize every small aspect of your business, then you digitize the entire thing, entire business. Zoho Creator helps you do that. These are different editing functionalities that is today available on Zoho Creator. Okay, so similar such example I want to showcase. So we saw Ask Zia. Can I switch back, please? Ask Zia on Zoho Creator, where it could build an application by just prompting. But we also have similar stuff going on our business intelligence platform, Zoho Analytics. Now, Zoho Analytics is a BI platform that's used by over 70,000 businesses worldwide for preparation of data, analysis of data, and building dashboards, giving you insights, etc. What I want to show you with Ask Zia functionality on analytics is 4 different skills of AI at work here, where there is report generation, which is a basic one. Then there is diagnosis, there's recommendation, there is reasoning, and there is action. Complex keywords. But then all of this you can do by just prompting. That's the power of Zia on Zoho Analytics. Can I switch my screen, please? OK. So let's ask Zia to build a monthly sales report, right? It analyzes data from CRM or whatever the underlying tool is, where you can diagnose here, right? So what happened? Why is there a drop? There is a reasoning engine at play here on asking, how do I improve? Zoho Analytics understands the data, looks at various possibilities. Then what you see here, export the above chart. What that means is your action skill coming into picture, where you're asking Zia to export the analysis in a chart. You can download it. You can do some other actions, like you can share it with your colleague, or even if you want to showcase this analysis to your executive team, it has this data story building capability where it builds a presentation for you to show to your executive team. So that's what I mentioned about 4 to 5 different AI skills at play here when you're using Zia on Zoho Analytics. All right, so that's a few of these demos. Can I switch back, please? Now, if you look at it, each of these new little innovation, the idea is to provide some contextual capabilities, right? Connecting different apps. And all of these are today Zoho apps, but we extend it to third-party apps as well, where you're not just working on, we saw one of the customer success story that Sachin presented, where you had different applications from multiple vendors, and it's difficult to connect, it's difficult to put that intelligence layer on top of it. This is what we are trying to solve with Zia. And Ask Zia helps you to do that contextual intelligence. It is today already part of many of Zoho's products. You saw CRM, Creator, Analytics, and we are expanding it to multiple of our applications that are out there. So we go from there to agents. Now, agents is, if you look at it, bots with reasoning skills, right? That can do things. It can be your SDR agent, a lead qualification agent, you name it, whatever you want that assistant to do. But agent hype is also ahead of the reality. You would have seen several agents being marketed, but many of it may not be operating at the level that you want or a business wants, right? So not every bot is an agent. That's what we say. That's what we realize as well. And current state of agents, when you look at it, it looks good from a distance, but it's not enough. And there are multiple reasons for that, right? Because I think we are getting too hyped up about agent. For us at Zoho, we are looking at pragmatic approach in developing agents and releasing them to the market. So let's take an example of some of our pre-built agent. What we have done here is we have looked at agents that are pre-built. For example, in email, we have a pre-built agent called Cleanup Agent that understands your inbox, different emails that comes in. It suggests you, okay, these are the conditions. Can I clean up your inbox? That's a pre-built agent. So something like that, you have Meeting Assistant, for example. You have done a meeting on Zoho Meeting. It gives you summary of the meeting, or it makes a meeting appointment for you, things like that. There are several such pre-built agents today, which is there on Zoho apps. But what if you want to create your own agent? Because this is where it will really help your business. So that's where our Zia Agent Studio comes into picture. Zia Agent Studio was launched a few months ago, 2 to 3 months ago, and it underpins the philosophy that we have for our multi-agent platform. Now, what that means is combining data from different applications, tools. You have CRM, invoice, expense, people, all of these different applications that we have at Zoho. Skills. I showed you a snapshot of 80 different skills that are today available. OCR, anomaly detection, recommendation, all these are different skills. And LLMs. When we say LLMs, we don't want you to restrict you with 1 or 2 LLM vendors. We launched something called as AI Bridge, which brings multiple LLMs together, so you have the best of the worlds, right? OpenAI and also self-hosted LLMs. Zoho launched its own LLM a couple of months ago, which is today part of Agent Studio as well. I'll show you that. But you get the drift here, where we are building an ecosystem of agents, or for agents to work, where you have all those 4 skills pillars on top of which a trust layer is needed. So let's look at the demo here. Can I switch back, please? OK. What you see here is our Agent Studio interface. This is, again, not publicly available yet. A lot of work going on to launch it in multiple data centers, availability of GPUs, and things like that. We work quite closely with NVIDIA, Intel, to get these things going. I think Ram is going to talk about it after lunch. But what we have here is, of course, you can build agents based on prompt. But let me look at one of the existing agents that is out there already. It's a lead scoring agent, which was built on Agent Studio. And as you can see here, if I edit here, you see a little pop here where you can choose the model. You can choose the model whether you want to go with OpenAI or use Zoho LLM. In time, we will add more LLM capabilities or options for you. What you can also see here is tools. Like I mentioned, this is various connections where the tools are needed here because agents have to be deployed in one of the apps. It has to do certain tasks, whether it is a task is to bring the lead from the CRM or pass it on to CRM or get it from the finance app. These are tools that helps you to connect different apps. And the guardrails, right? We have right now fairness and bias and toxicity check guardrails. Because for agents, if you are building agents for, let's say, your recruit management software, Zoho Recruit, you need to have certain of these guardrails to ensure they don't act cranky, right? Yeah, so once all of these things are set, you can deploy, and this particular agent is then part of our various other agents that you have built for your organization. Sorry. So these are different agents that you have built, agents that are shared with you. You can connect it with different apps. What we are also working on, which Ram is going to talk, is a marketplace where you can build your agents and put it on marketplace like Zoho Marketplace. We're also working on MCPs, Model Context Protocol, so that you can work with third-party tools. These are several such developments that we are going to show today, tomorrow, for you to get familiarized with our story. When you're building agent, the other important part is the agent should understand your business context. That's where this knowledge base comes into picture, right? So when you're building, let's say, an SDR agent, that SDR agent has to understand what is your sales process. So you can connect your knowledge base with Agent Studio so it has an understanding, knowledge of your business process. So this is Agent Studio for you. Now let me go back to my presentation. So agents are, this is again a buzzword, digital employees. But what you saw here is a real example of how you can create these agents using Agent Studio, deploy it in your organization, and be that colleague to get these things done. So what we have seen here is Zia, Ask Zia, Zia agents, 3 labels, all with the same purpose and with the same long-term approach to AI. Our goal here is to deliver value, but by keeping it practical, right? And when I say practical, all of these are practical examples of AI. Now let's move to the next section. What's new in app? 2 years ago, we launched Ula. Ula is actually, sorry. It's a secure and private browser meant for businesses. Have you heard of Ula yet? Okay. So today we have over 1 million users for Ula. We haven't marketed it much, so maybe that's why it's million. But what we have realized is many of our customers who are using Ula, they don't have a centralized policy management for browsers. Now, why is it important? If you are in a sensitive industry, if you're in financial industry, public sector industry, you will need a lot of browser policies to ensure the gateway to internet, which is browser, is secure. And most of the popular consumer browsers, if you look at it, they are developed by companies that are in business of ads, business of making money through ads. So they have different reasons to put the browser out there. That's when we launched Ula. We thought we need something that could manage the browser usage in an enterprise, because browsers have a large attack surface, right? Because it's mostly consumers. So we have now Ula Enterprise for you, where you can, as a business, you can control different sites, websites you cannot use. It also has options for data leak prevention, DLP, where sometimes you would see certain websites you cannot take the screenshot. Right? If you go to your banking application, sometimes you cannot take the screenshot. What if you can centrally manage for a particular team that they cannot take screenshots of sensitive information, or they cannot download information from the website? All of these critical capabilities you can centrally manage and manage it by groups. Say, for example, you need different policy for marketing team because we want to access all the websites. And you want different policy for, let's say, finance team, right? You can manage all of this using Ula Enterprise. It's a little screenshot. We have a team here. If you go to Hall 3, there is a team, there's a booth for identity security. We have the product head of Ula over there. You can ask questions. This is also available for the UK region. So take a demo and see if it fits your organization. He'll be happy to help you. So that's ULA Enterprise. Now, what you see here in the last 40-odd minutes is various different technologies that helps you to run your business. And as you can see, it's possible because we could develop and release all these AI features. It was possible because of our composable architecture at play. Now, what that means is we have all of these adaptable point products: books, expense, CRM, people, recruit, workplace, different point products, right? We also have products that are domain-specific, which is our bundles, right? So you have CRM Plus, or you have Creator and all that stuff. And then you want to build on top of it. When your application is not enough, you want to build on top of it some bespoke application. And then you have Creator or Catalyst, which helps you to build your own application. So if you look at it, it's quite composable, when you look at the whole Zoho stack. And that helps us to steer our next set of future path, where you're not restricted by applications that we build for you, but we give you the capabilities, we give you the platform on platter for you to develop applications for your industry, for your business. And that's what we are slightly adding more capabilities to make it as a platform. So as you can see here, this is domain-specific. These are domain-specific application platforms that are there. Collaboration, which is workplace, IoT, we have a booth out there. So if you are in a company, in a business where you have to manage devices, smart devices, you take a look at Zoho IoT booth, where you could see how can centrally manage. Employee experience, finance platform, these are various platforms that are already there. It's sitting on a cloud infrastructure that has servers, security, your monitoring tools. All of these are already embedded, and it's already working, right? And it is working for 130 million users worldwide, so it's tested infrastructure. There's a data platform which cuts across Zoho's suite of applications. And there are services. So for example, what you see here, search. We have something called a Zia Search, which is a unified search model that will cut across. So if you are using a Zoho One, or if you are using one of our apps, you use Zia Search, and it'll search for keywords from our 45 different applications. So that is one piece of technology that is there already. Your AV platform. The AV platform is something which is there on Zoho Meeting, Zoho Click, any of these applications that you see. AI layer, we have already spoken about it. And then the orchestration layer to bring all of these together, right? You have Zoho Flow, you have Zoho RPA. All of these are orchestration layer that brings these applications together with workflows. Then you have developer experience platform, which is ProCode. ProCode is Catalyst, where you're not just doing drag and drop to build applications, which is Creator that can build powerful applications. But what if you want to do your own programming? You have Catalyst for that. And then you have BI platform. We showed it to you. Identity. So we have your Active Directory and Zoho Auth, which is there, and all these different application layers. If you look at, this is the ecosystem we are building. And this has been at work over the last 20 years. Today, this whole thing is available for you to build vertical applications. If you are in an industry, if you are in, let's say, financial industry, or if you are in an automobile industry, you don't like the CRM that we have built for you, you build your own CRM, right? You build your own HR platform. And that's where us as a vendor, our partners, can come and help you to build the application for you. With that, thank you very much.